You know, Horrorland may seem like a scary, foreboding place. Because it is!
So Goosebumps. Man, what a massive franchise. The books, the merchandise, the TV series, and probably the reason you're here, the games. So today, we're going to take a look at Goosebumps, Escape from Horrorland. FMV games get a terrible rap. Often they're clunky, full of terrible acting. They make you feel less like you're playing a game and more like you're waiting to press a button. I'm not going to say Goosebumps, Escape from Horrorland exceeds any of my expectations. You can probably imagine when you've got something like Horrorland, the books, the board games and the TV episode, you want to explore that park. And now, you've got the chance, firsthand, to experience Horrorland. Obviously, being a Goosebumps game, there's going to be a few shocks and frights. So I tried to creep myself out a bit and actually played this game in the dark. And Mum got mad at me because I kept having nightmares and waking her up. So if you're going to play this game, I recommend leaving the light on. And most importantly, do your homework first, because once you start the adventure, you can't just walk back out through those gates. You're trapped in Horrorland. So this game is pretty much set up as a sequel to the book. There's a few sites and references. But any child brain that couldn't be bothered reading those chunky tomes of terror is probably going to realise pretty quickly that this is basically just solve the puzzles and play the games to try and win your freedom. Goosebumps? It's not complex stuff.
If we're smart, we'll find a way out of here real fast.
But you can really start to appreciate how much effort went into setting up the atmosphere here. So here at the Leftover Culture Review, we don't waste precious time trying to defend and talk about obsolete, dead, irrelevant games, genres and consoles. FMV games have run their course. There's no denying that in the mid-90s when polygons were still cutting their teeth, the sets and stages set up here actually look pretty badass. Using a mixture of miniatures, models, CGI and live actors and props, Horrorland sets off this real B-movie vibe. Corny and humorous, with some really rich textures and some pretty awesome looking costumes and animatronics. The acting, it can be pretty camp.
I do. Worst thing that can happen is you'll end up sliding to your doom.
But some of these costumes look really awesome. Finding some of the behind the scenes footage, you can see DreamWorks really pulled out all the stops to make this a memorable experience. And thank God they had a bit of restraint. You say FMV game, and everyone sighs. Turns out, people like to play their games, more than just watch them. Luckily, Goosebumps is more of an adventure game, with some heavy FMV elements, but plenty of point and click adventure-y stuff too. This isn't a little game either, like any adventure game. You'll be able to breeze through it once you've worked out what you're doing. But if you're really going to power through the adventure and see everything, work out all the puzzles, I was actually pretty stoked to see you got the whole park to yourself. It's hard to recommend a game like Goosebumps Escape from Horrorland, because I don't want to be responsible for giving you guys night terrors. But if you've got the guts and a computer that runs Windows XP or older, sorry Macintosh users, it is one hell of a trip through a world I tried to imagine plenty of times. So much so that I actually drew a map in the back of my book.
Waking each noon to the tortured screams of terrified tots. To see children crying hysterically in fear.